Hi everyone, this is Nikolai from Bridgehill. The purpose of this video is to provide guidance to firefighters worldwide on how to utilize the Bridgehill fire blanket. To start with, I'm going to introduce the Bridgehill Smart Bag. To start with, I'll introduce the handles on the front. They've been developed to easily carry by two people, the blanket, each on each side. And on the back, it comes with two straps, so one person can carry the blanket. It also comes with this, so you can easily hang it on a hook on any wall. This is an airtight, smell-proof bag, and you can easily open just by holding here. It's very efficient. On the lid, it actually comes with a net where you can put anything you want here. If you open this up, you will find silicone fat, so you can do maintenance on the zipper and keep that airtight and smell-proof. If you look over here, you'll find the instruction manual, and behind it, there's a repair kit. It even says repair kit. So if you damage the blanket, you can easily use this. It comes with a thread and a needle to repair the blanket. The instruction manual comes in 4 different languages: English, German, French, and Spanish. All right, let's deploy this. So before deployment, it's important that you put the blanket in front or in the back of the vehicle. So just simply open the bag all over again and take the blanket out. Use the handle in the back to do this. What you want to do now is to take off the belt. Now simply roll out the blanket both on your side. Now you want to grab the handle. The best way to do it is just around your wrist. And now tie the blanket. This will allow you to center the blanket properly. You want to just walk at the same speed and a good speed. Go! Now go around the vehicle. You want to make sure that the blanket is properly centered around the vehicle. And now it's very important that you create a type of skirt. This will enable you to properly deprive the vehicle from oxygen. In some cases, people try to kick the blanket. You do not want to do this. You just want to do that just as I did it. Because the other ways is just going to create a whole bunch of air gaps, and you don't want that. If the battery is burning, you need to determine when this stops. You can do this by just seeing if the sound it's gone, or by using thermal imaging. You can take off the blanket if you want after an hour, but we recommend you to have the blanket on the entire time until the vehicle has been transported to a safe place. The reason for this is because the components around the battery will get damaged, and it could reignite at any time. In heavy wind conditions, use a rope to tie it around the vehicle. Do this twice to ensure it's tight. We do this to stabilize the blanket and ensure no wind is going underneath. Do exactly the same thing when you're transporting a vehicle. To prevent you from being exposed to a possible backfire, drag the blanket away from the vehicle and not towards it. When you're folding the blanket, there should be 2 people. Try to fold it as an accordion. You can use the previous wrinkles as a reference point. Make sure that the handles are sticking out before you roll it in all the way to the center. Use the belt and put inside the bag. So we will be going through several situations where several vehicles are involved. In this case, we have a parking lot situation where the vehicle in the center is the burning vehicle. I will show you the importance of how to deploy the blanket. It is important that you do not deploy it next to the vehicle that is burning, but you do this using a vehicle in between. Now, by doing this you ensure that you're not putting yourself at harm. Once you do this, you cover the entire vehicle. You try to put down the blanket from the vehicle on the side, and you want to step all the way the blanket throughout the vehicle. This will ensure that you are depriving the oxygen from that burning vehicle. Here's an example of how this is done. In this other scenario, we'll be showing you how you can utilize the fire blanket to prevent the spread of fire. If we pretend these two vehicles are burning, you can now deploy the blanket on this vehicle, creating a firewall, and this will prevent the spread of fire. If you feel this is too dangerous, you can also deploy the blanket on the vehicle next to this one. In this scenario, we're simulating vehicles parked in a street next to a sidewalk. So if this vehicle is burning, you do not want to deploy the blanket and roll it out over here. You want to go into the next vehicle that is not burning, deploy it, roll it out, safely deploy throughout the vehicle that is not burning, and then into the vehicle that is burning. This way you will safely deploy the blanket. So talking more about the diversity of this fire blanket, it is great for forklifts, for robots. You can use it in tunnels and warehouses, but another aspect of the diversity is to utilize it as a fire sail. Now it comes with heavy duty eyelets around it to make it a fire sail. So I recommend you to have these three things in the lid of the bag. So this rope can be utilized to hang the blanket from two objects. You can have, for instance, two trees, and you're creating a firewall to protect a building. It could be, for instance, a barn. You can utilize these carabiners to hang the blanket. Now, you do this, and you hang it from the gutters. It's very, very efficient in a good way. If you happen to find a wooden building, then you can staple it with a staple gun. We've been talking about how we can utilize the blanket as a fire sail to protect a building from burning, but you can also put it on a building that is burning, and that wall where you put the blanket or the fire sail will be the last wall to burn. There is no need to clean or wash the blanket, since testing shows that it's best to air the blanket for a couple of days. If you experience any small rips in the blanket, this does not affect the purpose of the blanket, but if they become bigger, then you can just use the repair kit. After reusing the blanket several times, the coating in the blanket might burn away. This does not affect the purpose of the blanket, since it is the core fabric that handles the extreme high temperatures. The blanket will eventually deteriorate after time, and it is when you start it to easily rip that you should have a new blanket. When the blanket is wear out, just air it a couple days and dispose it as residual waste. This is the most effective way to control and put out fires, but it's also the greenest. There is no resources in the process. We're able to prevent any types of toxins going to the soil, into the groundwater, to the atmosphere. And when it comes to carcinogen exposure, there's very little exposure for firefighters of toxic gases and smoke, and we're also preventing people around the area to get exposed to this.